Peace, peace, peace. So the question was on the power equality degree in 120, or the knowledge added on to a cipher degree in a 114, right? So I'll just give you the question, right? Why does Muhammad and any Muslim murder the devil? What is the duty of each Muslim regard to four devils? And what reward does a Muslim receive by saying the four devils at one time? So, because of the devil is 100% weak and wicked and will not keep in the laws of Islam, his ways act like those like the grafted type, right? It goes on to build about that. So that's Elijah answering W.D. Farad. So let's start there. So it's in the 30s when Elijah is answering this question. And in the country, in the 30s in America is Jim Crow. So do research on Jim Crow, and then you'll know that that was in the late 30s, mid to late 30s, early 40s. So you talking before World War II, right? And so I remember reading this degree on WD, right? It was the degree on WD, and they were taking that part where it says, so Muhammad learned that he could not reform the devil, so they had to be murdered because they know he is a snake, and also if he was allowed to live, he would sting someone else. So and each Muslim was required to bring in four devils, and by having presented four at one time, his reward was but his coat. Also free transportation to the whole city of Mecca to see their brother Muhammad. Now, so was they talking about in the days when Medina took Mecca? Is that what Elijah's talking about? I don't know if that's what he was talking about, because who would be the devil's heads they would be taking, or was they taking the colonizers' heads? Was they taking the infidels' heads? Whose head was they? You know what I'm saying? So that means that the term devil could apply to all of those different manifestations, depending on who you are and what you see as the devil, right? So I remember the Detroit temple, which was temple number 1. That was the first temple W.D. Farad made knowledge born in, right? And so he born those degrees, and then they took it physically and was out there killing people, doing whatever. Like, you could read about it in the FBI report. The newspapers will coincide. Like, you could read the FBI report, and then sometimes they don't be true because it's CONTELPRO and all that misinformation. So you have to cross-reference both sides. Like, the media will be lying, CONTELPRO will be lying. You know what I'm saying? Different governing agencies, they'll be lying for national security or for whatever reason they have for not telling you what really went down. So that's why when you're a real researcher, you start doing your cross-referencing. So I always was taught that envy, lust, hatred, and greed was the four devils that we as the 5% would cut. Those devil heads you cut off, right? Envy, lust, hatred, greed, cut them off. You got the 10 attributes of the lower self, which is the first 4, and then the next 4 is just higher octaves of the first 4, right? And then them next 2, which give them 6. They're higher octaves of the second 4. So, like that. The world of shells, lower self, this, that, you can take it there, right? So now you could say The devil is 100% weak and wicked, and will not keep and obey the laws of thyself, Lord and Master. Right? Each god is required to bring in 4 devil's heads. So each god is required to bring in 4 devil's heads: lust, envy, hate, and greed. You take them out of your attribute. Physical composition, they will have it, but the mind won't. Right? Man is not the body nor the soul. Man is mind. Right? From there, you can take it to murder those devils, envy, love, hatred, and greed. Right? You can murder those devils in everything. Being ambitious and straightforward, and word is bond. Right? And truth. You can stand on freedom, justice, equality. That would be easy to stand on. The culture, I, God. Right? Because he will not keep and obey the laws of I, God. His ways and acts like those of a snake of the grafted type. They said the story was how one of the major players in Nubia got in to the nation. I mean, everybody got in for other different reasons, right? So he said that the intelligence level got him in because he was like, they would be playing the dozens. You know, we played the dozens. Not so much with our parents, but with ourselves. Like, dudes would be doing it on themselves, like snapping on each other and shit. And so he said that Father Divine had caught him with, you're like a snake of the grafted type. And he said he had never heard nothing like that before. You are a snake of the grafted type. You know, so that was like, whoa, we ain't never heard that one. And I guess that's what yanked him in. He was like, yeah, I need to learn how to talk like that. I remember when I got yanked in, the mathematics yanked me in. How you see today's mathematics. Like that. When they went there, and, well, like today they would have been saying knowledge, but it was at the end of the month then when that happened. So they would have been saying knowledge. But anyway, that's my C on thing, right? So, like, even when you say Mecca, are you going to Mecca in the wilderness in North America, Mecca? Or are you going to Mecca in Muhammad's time, the Prophet Muhammad, or is it Byzantine Empire, 1453? Is it that Muhammad you going to? Muhammad the Conqueror, 1453 Byzantine Empire, that Muhammad, right? And then, so that's like the Ottoman Empire. That's what you see on that. They run that all the way to Britain. When Britain and the Allied forces on the First World War, when they won that one, that's when America was really down hard racist, because it's right near the end of the Civil Rights War. Because remember, they had been fighting since the early 50s, like pretty much since World War II, right after they came back. And they came back as soldiers, and the Europeans that were home didn't even go to the war. They was doubling down on us with the Jim Crow attitude, right? That's that era. So that had been going on since the Jim Crow era starts, right? Pretty much right after that Reconstruction period. Maybe that whole decade to a score. Up about a score, you didn't have anybody really bothering you. You was progressing, and that pissed them off. That's why I said they had the audacity to be walking down the street and then looking all over their shoulder like they were afraid when a few black men get in back of them. And I'm looking, saying to myself, from my position where we were sitting at, I said, now you see how that no one on earth did more stealing than the colonizer. That's a fact. The colonizer did all the stealing to us. Right? Those who were controlled by the ruling and the rich of the colonizer through their military. They were the ones doing all the stealing, raping, murder, pillage, maiming, serial killing, war. If we ain't warring, we raiding. I mean, it just don't stop. So who's the one should be afraid is, it's funny how they'll act like they're so afraid of the original man in the wilderness of North America, right? They call black people African Americans, whatever the case may be. The Moors, the Hebrews, the Gods, the NOIs, which one you're in, the FOIs, whichever one you're in, right? All of the different Hebrew groups. I don't know who I'm talking about. You got Lamb's Wool, all of them Lamb's Wool people is at the root of the hatred that had. That's why I be saying hatred, envy, lust, greed, and haters, right? But envy and lust and greed and hatred be all inside there together. They be interchangeable as demon heads. And so we was trained to be that way. Like, that took a lot of oppression to put us in a position where we feel like that about each other. Where it's to the point where even those that have the knowledge of the culture and the creed, we're no stronger than our weakest link. So until the weakest of us knows and understands versus the strongest of us knows and understands, like that, we're going to still be in this dilemma. Even if they don't know and understand, if they're willing to follow those that do, that's what scared the colonizer, that he called them messiahs, but it's just the one who has the most magnetic. That's why people like Michael Jackson and the different entertainers that command the way. See how Nas filled up Madison Square Garden and like that, because he's able to pack Madison Square Garden. That means that many people are willing to come and see him. So that's a lot of influence. That's over 500 people, right? anytime you have 500, over 500 people, it's going to be some people in there that want to take advantage of the sheep, and there's going to be those in there that are going to have to protect the sheep. That's just the way human nature has been since the wars, maybe 6,000 years worth of these type of wars and fingerprints and this, that, and the third. Only been about 6 grand. Prior to that, that's when you start seeing the monuments being built all over the earth, from that point going all the way back. Because all of those structures are older than the colonizer tells you. Right? We already know that they're not going to take 120's word. They're not going to take Elijah's word. And so what happens is, for a metaphor, they don't take Malcolm's word and they don't take Martin Luther King's word. They don't take either one of their word. That's how it works, right? Makes me think of Patrice Lumumba. And now Torre is here. I mean, there was other ones, major players too, in Africa, just like there was other major players here in South America, from Alaska to Chile, and right, from the Horn of Africa to Morocco. Australia had their heroes, which I have yet to hear their stories told in great number, but they had their people too, they freedom fighters, this, that, and the third, right? And the colonizer calls them not right and exact, acts like they're, like, you know, when he killed that lady, what's her name? Joan of Arc. We was talking about her the other day. She came up in the question. Right, so Joan of Arc was like a hero to them, or for them. She was able to rally. Whether she could fight or not fight is irrelevant. She was a rallying point for her people, and they were able to defeat whoever it is they were fighting. And then the rich and the rulers felt her influence was too great, so they made up some story of how, so they could kill you. That's what they always do, right? The rulers and the rich, they'll make up some story of why they gotta kill you. And then they try to kill you. So the story they made up for her was she was a witch, and she did spells. And see, if they said that nowadays, everybody would laugh at them. But in those days, you could say that, and everybody went with it. So in these modern days, they come up with whatever modern day stuff they could say you did, and the people go for that, right? It is what it is. You know, it's just like when you don't take the lessons and make them walk and talk and bring them up to the modern day, make it today, right? So we know the devil is 100% weak and wicked, even after Jim Crow. The colonizer didn't stop colonizing, right? He kept on colonizing us and on the planet. But nowadays you have a chance to have a bloodless war, as Malcolm would say. It's easy to do. Like the type of war that we're in now, everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. And you don't even need to know how to fight. You don't have to march. You don't have to do anything but just go according to the degree. Just by going according to the lessons, right? Simple shit. You automatically cripple the devil's economics. Like he can't handle that if y'all all do that. So, right? If inside of 120, wherever we do all of that, it says do. Right? Say all the 5%. Right? All the 5%. Just say, you know what? Every lie grafted germ from original is devil. So anything that applies to that, we not doing it. Because we indulge in everything. Whether we 10%, whether we 5%, or whether we 85%. Not every one of us do. No, of course not. Not every one of us. But some of us indulge in more things than others indulge in. That's what I'm saying. That's what changes it. And so by doing that, it enables the devil to have more time on the planet Earth and lessens our freedom, right? Little simple shit according to the degrees, right? If we go according to the lessons, you'd be free tomorrow. You wouldn't even be going through this shit you're going through right now. It would be over. Little simple shit, right? Any live grafted germ from original is devil. So look, what's our main thing is? Black people in the wilderness of North America that can cripple them right quick. Alright, off the gate, everybody gonna say pork. Yes, that would cripple them. But cigarettes would cripple them even more than pork would. Because people who don't eat pork in the nation still smoke cigarettes. And people who eat pork smoke cigarettes. And usually they drink beer with it. It goes with, if they eating pork, they might be smoking cigarettes, drinking beer. They might even be doing understanding equality. They might do all of that, all of the above. But if 17 million of us stop with the porcupine, the turpentine, right? And we stop using the modern day add-on to swine is grain, starch, soy, dairy, sugar. We shut all that down. See how it automatically starts killing the colonizer? He loses control if you just do the dietary law. He loses control if you take down white Jesus, put the black Jesus up. If the church you in is celebrating white Jesus, and you say you in that church, but you not celebrating white Jesus, I don't know, that sounds like hypocrisy. It doesn't go together. In other words, you either need to get them to go with the right shit or get the fuck out of here and go with your own shit, because going with the fake shit just because they all going with the fake shit gonna make y'all all be with Luamar. It is what it is. Right? If you bear witness to that world of fleshless things, then you going to see Luamar. Right? Alright, so read the Green Book and you'll understand that part. But going back to, we're going to keep boycotting the devil. Just the dietary law alone of boycotting it, using Leviticus. Just do a Leviticus 11 will automatically change the economics in the neighborhood where you're at. Automatically. Any projects. any black community that automatically goes according to Leviticus changes the economics of that particular area. If all the sisters go natural, it changes the economics. See, you don't have to do anything. You don't got to boycott these motherfuckers. None of that. All you got to do is say, listen, everybody boo. Like dude said, we sick and tired of everybody. Everybody done got on our nerves. Ain't nobody got our back. Our professors already told us nobody got us. And we see nobody got us, but want us to have everybody. When something go down, they all want us to be in on it with them. Protesting and doing whatever, marching. But they don't want to admit that we the set up. We the ones started jazz. We the ones started country. Right? We started hip-hop. All that shit came from right out, like the lessons say, the 50 states is the wilderness of North America is where it came from. Those Asiatics, you know how we speak. You can tell by the way we talk English now. Where you from? You don't have to ask me where I'm from when I'm talking to you, right? You go. He's from the wilderness of North America, New York area, northeast region, right? So I said that to say that when we hear our brethren from the South, we hear it there too. But the lessons go cross boundaries that way. It'll cross those kind of boundaries because it's designed for the children. It's really designed for the children. It's the last part that leaves it off. It's for the children, but in these to bring it modern, you need to at least be able to talk to the parents of the children. If you could if the parents get put on, they'll put their children on. Once we get it inside, the way the colonizer made our parents love his understanding of who the Creator is and how to understand the Creator, made us have it his way. Through however means he could do it. Till finally he didn't have to make us do it. We passed that on, what he gave to us. We passed on what he said is what we supposed to do, how we supposed to do it, and this, that, and the third. Even our C on it. And and then he mixed, dilute, and tampered with it, and we don't believe that he did that. So once we get into the point where we don't think that he could mix, dilute, and tamper with things that were holy and then give it to us. He had it like 500 years. Tampering with it, perfecting his control over our seed. That's what he did. He changed your seed. Once your understanding of the universe, earth, sun, moon, and stars, once your understanding was changed from the way your ancients saw it before 1555 from Alaska to Chile, us. I'm talking about us over here, right? Every section got their own time when the colonizer colonized them and who their colonizer is. Right? If you're in the wilderness of North America, your colonizer right now, today, is mostly English. But if you start looking back through history, you'll say English, French, Spaniards, Portuguese is a little bit of Germany, but not a lot. Maybe they're influenced, but that's the academia part of it. But that's who banged us in the head from Alaska to Chile, right? And then you come to modern days, and so you have to look at it in three folds. You got to look at it in the point where you in the indoctrination period, the 64-year indoctrination period. You got that part. They call it that in the lessons, but it's really just showing you those first 64 years of murder and mayhem coming into the tip of the iceberg of Alaska to Chile. But that same attitude throughout until he came to modern days. Dietary. That's how he got Alaska to Chile. Through the same way he did the indoctrination period. Look up how he attacked the Caribbean, the European nation. The Spaniards started it, them and the Portuguese, they came first with murder and mayhem. But nobody was worse than Columbus and his crew. They was murderers of murdering people like, we going to tear this up. We are the 100% absolute supreme murderers that you ain't never seen murder like we murder. Right? That's why as soon as you look at why does Muhammad and any Muslim murder the devil, you also got to look at why does Muhammad make the devil study from 35 to 50 years before he can call himself a Muslim son and wear the greatest and only flag of the universe. And he must add a sword and live a part of the holy and greatest universal flag. So, when you looking at the knowledge cipher degree in the 114, you also gonna see the born degree because it's right on top, and that page is gonna have born knowledge added onto a cipher. Knowledge gonna have word is born in there, and it's gonna have FOI. All that's gonna be on the same page, right? All that's gonna be on the same page, and so you're going to see that whole manifestation on that day's thing. We going through it because that was the question, how you see the knowledge added on to a cipher. Because Mecca could be the original woman. She's the holy city. The Lamb's Wool woman. 16 shades of black, 8 shades of brown, 8 shades of yellow. Her. She's Mecca. She's the earth. That's Mecca. Mecca, earth, Gaia, mother. That's her. She. Right? And so they was looking to see a reward, and we know that when you know and understand 120, your reward is a universal flag in the form of a button that will wear on the lapel of your coat. Right? We do that. Right? And you get free transportation is the knowledge. The knowledge, you get the free knowledge in the form of power. Right? Ain't that what they said? He was coaching knowledge on the knowledge understanding month, in the knowledge understanding day in the equality month, right? And that was knowledge born, equality born. And so he was free knowledge in the form of power. I remember that lesson like that. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Peace to the gods. Peace to the earth. Peace to the families.